Hello, I'm back with my lovely this is one of my t-shirts. I designed this from my photography. Um so uh yeah, so anyway, I designed this shirt. Uh so in the previous video I talked about the jerky bus driver, and I forgot that there was an actual horrible incident on the bus. That particular day, I had um, been lost for about 3 hours. It's a long story. And finally, I figured everything out. It was a horrible day. So anyway, I finally was on the way home on the bus. So on the bus, there's an entrance in the front, and then there's an exit in the middle of the bus. And so sometimes there's a lot of room on the bus, and sometimes people are standing on the aisle, and you're very tightly confined. So I ended up finding, leaning against the bar. So pretend like my sleeve right here, pretend it's a bar. The bar so the exit would be here, right? And here's a bar, and then on this bar there is a scanner. And at a later time, I'll talk to you about the scanner and how you should scan your card when you get onto the bus, when you exit the bus. The same thing with the subway. But anyway, on this particular day, I was ready to go home and just rest and relax and just call it a day, because it was just a horrible afternoon. So anyway, I'm leaning against the bar right here, right? And I literally had people, so you can see my hand right here, right? I literally had people touch me and scan their card. Yeah. These people could not, they were so impatient, they could not wait until they exited and then scan their card. Wouldn't it be easier just to do it that way? You're gonna exit anyway, and as you're exiting, you just scan your card. It's super quick. Anyway, I don't recall exactly how many people did it, but at the time, I remember it was about 12 people. Or who knows, maybe it was the same person who just was scanning their card 12 times, because I never looked back. I was at the verge of crying because I was upset about how, about my day, and but at the same time I was very stubborn. I refused to move. I was not going to let their rudeness move me. I was so stubborn. I did not move. And as much as I hated what they were doing to me, I did not move. So anyway, so I had about 12 people scan their card, so they weren't touching me on this side, they were just touching me on the other side. Scan their card. Yeah, I couldn't understand it. That doesn't make sense to me. But that was the only horrible thing that I would say that happened on the bus, aside from the jerky bus driver. So most of the time it's just on the subway. So since I'm already talking about the bus, let me discuss about other things that are not particularly ugly, but I would say are just different, So let me move my lovely aside. Yeah. Okay. Just set her there, and then get my chair. Okay, I'm back. Here, let me move her a little bit more so you can see her a little bit. Oops. She's a little crooked, but whatever. That's okay. Okay, so since we're on the subject of bus, sorry, I got pull my dress. On the subject of bus, I haven't been on buses very often. I mean, when I was in school, yes, in high school, I was on the bus. At the university, the same thing. I got on the bus, but as a grown up, I've maybe only been on the bus a couple of times, because I remember one time my car broke down. But other than that, here in America, people just drive. Like, we don't walk. we will drive to, I live in a small town of 6,000 people. No, I'm lying, 8,000 people. And we have one market. The market's probably 5 blocks from my home, and I will never walk to the market. I always get on, I always drive to the market. In Korea, all I did was walk, and use public transportation. That's all I did in Korea, which is fine because Seoul has 10 million people, and I don't know. I have like maybe a dozen friends. Only 2 of them, maybe 3 of them have cars. The rest of them don't have cars. So middle class, quote unquote, people, for the most part, just take public transportation. I mean, if they work, far from home, or if they have a position where, they have to go to meetings and stuff, of course they're going to have cars. But, like I said, like a dozen of my friends, only 2, maybe 3 had cars. The rest of them don't have cars. So anyway, on the bus, when, for example, if you sit next to a person who is seated by the window seat, and they are ready to exit, they don't do what we do here in the States. Here, if I were seated at the window seat and I arrive at my bus stop, what am I going to do? I'm going to let the person, if there's a person seated next to me, I'm going to say, oh, I'm so sorry, this is my bus stop. Oh, excuse me, I need to get off. You're going to make some sort of conversation to let them know that you need to exit. Not in Korea. In Korea, what do? They just stand up. So when they stand up, well, you don't even have to wait for them to stand up. As they're standing up, oh, okay, that's my signal that they are getting off the bus. So as soon as you start seeing someone standing up, you either move your body so they can squeeze past you, or you get up. It depends on the circumstance. Sometimes I just move my body, sometimes I stand up. So yeah, they don't talk amongst themselves. It's just very, very different. And most of the time on the subway and on the bus, it's really pretty quiet. They are, for the most part, on their phone, or, if they don't have a phone, they're just quiet. Sometimes when there are conversations on the bus or on the subway, it's typically with the foreigner. It really doesn't happen amongst Koreans. Although in the neighborhoods that I lived, it was very rare to see a foreigner. For example, I lived at 3 different locations in the same area, the same district near Seoul National University. So at the first, in the first area that I lived in the 3 months that I lived there, I probably saw 8 foreigners in 3 months. In this last neighborhood, because I was there August through November, in this last neighborhood, I probably saw, oh yeah, I remember, in the first couple of weeks, I did see a young foreigner, a young lady, probably like a block from my home. And then I didn't see anyone till the day before I left Korea, which was 3 months later. I saw 2 foreigners who got off the bus that I didn't realize they were on the bus with me, but they got off. That's in my neighborhood. Yeah, when you get on the bus, so for me to get on the bus, I had to walk for 8 minutes. And so sometimes on the bus, I would be the only foreigner. Once in a while, there could be 1 or 2 foreigners on the bus that were already either seated or would come on to the bus, because I always, I would have to take the bus for 20 minutes before I got onto the subway. So in that 20-minute time span, sometimes, not all the time, there could be days and even weeks where you don't see another foreigner, in your neighborhood or in those 20-minute drive to your bus stop. To the subway. But once in a while you do. You might see, one or two foreigners, and usually they're the ones that are talking with their Korean friends, So, yeah, and in terms of, so I'm deviating a little bit from the bus, but in terms of foreigners, Korea is a homogenous country, so I would say they're probably like 97% Koreans, and then the other 3% are foreigners. And there were times that people would stop me and tell me, "You are the first foreigner I've ever seen. I've never seen another foreigner," or "You're the first foreigner I've ever met." But depending on the area they go, like if you're going to tourist areas like Gangnam, yeah, you will see foreigners there. I don't know, maybe every 10 minutes you might come across foreigners, and depending on the area, there could be quite a few foreigners in a certain area. And quite a few, I just mean, I don't know, 5, 10, but that's in the Gangnam district. But there are times you could be on the subway for 2 hours and you will not come across another foreigner, and so like I lived in the southwest side of Seoul near Seoul National University, and I had a friend who lived on the northeast side of Seoul, which was literally like 14 miles, and I'll write it up here in terms of kilometers. So anyway, yeah, he lived at 14 miles from where I lived, and with the bus ride, subway, and bus ride again, it would take me 2 hours to get there. It was a 2 hour visit. I mean, a 2 hour on the bus visit, and we'd hang out for an hour, hour and a half, and then I'd leave, So, yeah, but here in California, you drive for 2 hours. It's like, I mean, in California, you can drive. Like, it's not a big deal, but you wouldn't drive for 2 hours and still be in the same town. You wouldn't drive for 2 hours and still be in the same city. I mean, unless you're in San Francisco. In San Francisco, like, sometimes it does get a little crazy with the traffic. We went to Fleet Week. A lot of family members and I went to Fleet Week in October, and it literally took me 2 hours to, I don't know, go maybe 2 miles. It was crazy. So yeah, sometimes that does happen, but in Korea, when you're on the bus and the subway for 2 hours, it just seems to go by so fast, like really, really fast. Okay, I'm at the 13-minute mark, so I think I'm gonna cut it because I'm trying to make it easy for all of you. But truly, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to visit with me, and I will do another video coming up. There are quite a few things I need to talk about, especially the ugly. And like I said in the previous video, some of this you've already heard with that original first 45-minute video, but because the last 10 minutes the last 10 minutes froze, that's not a quote-unquote full video, but I don't want to delete it, so I am being repetitive in some ways, but thank you again for taking time out of your busy day. I pray you have a gloriously blessed week, and for us Americans, we're going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to it. It's my favorite holiday, so I pray you have a memorable, glorious, wonderful time with loved ones, family, and for anyone outside of the States, thank you so much. I really truly appreciate you, and if you would take time and actually like and subscribe, I would truly be grateful. God bless you. Goodbye. Annyeong. Adios.